OTF family, how are you? How are you feeling? It is day 48, and if you're thinking, I could be feeling a little bit better, I wish I had that motivation that I had when I was in the studio. Well, we've got you covered. We've got 3 opportunities for you to join us live: 7 a.m. with Coach Dan, 1 p.m. with me. We've got Emily in the evening at the 7:30 p.m. workout. That is 3 opportunities for you to tune in. Not only that, you can catch us on YouTube. So you just need to tell yourself to get moving. We feel so good when we're burning those calories. It's a total body workout. Mini bands, if you've got them, bring them. 2 sets of light weights, 2 sets of medium weights. If you have nothing but yourself, that is absolutely fine. We have got you covered. So we love seeing new people take part in our workouts, as well as if it's your first, your second, or many. Keep joining us live. We love it, and we love sharing the motivation, and we get motivated by you as well. So yeah, we look forward to seeing you.
This dynamic warm-up is going to work the entire body. You'll have 6 exercises and 5 minutes of work here. We're going to start with 30 seconds of a cat camel. Starting in our tabletop position, hands stacked underneath the shoulders, knees stacked underneath the hips. We're going to drop that belly button down to the ground, looking towards the ceiling, working the shoulders. Then drawing the belly button up, trying to get that spine nice and big. Next up, we're going to go back to that tabletop, 30 seconds per side of a thread to needle, reaching over top, bringing that arm underneath to stretch out the shoulder. You'll have 30 seconds on one side, then you'll go to the other. Next up, we have a high plank. We're going to push into a downward dog, keeping the legs straight, focusing on the calves and hamstrings as well as the shoulders. We're going to go back to the high plank. Now let's start walking our hands back to our toes for a standard walkout. This is going to work the hamstrings, glutes, and posterior chain. Next up, we've got our 5-point squat. We're going to start with a forward bend, bringing our hands underneath the toes, dropping into the squat to get chest nice and tall. One arm up, then the next, driving through the heels back to our starting position. Then we're going to mix things up, 30 seconds of a power skip. This is going to lightly elevate your heart rate. 6 total exercises, 5 minutes. Let's get warmed up.
Let's burn it down. Touch and kiss, my heart's first wish is coming true. I've begun to grow, and now I know you're the one for me. And I've been known to give in too easily before, but I know I feel something I've never felt before. Then you told me stay, don't worry, up your mind, what you're searching for. Sticky claim, is it fame? Do you see your name in lights? Make up your mind, what you're searching for. Is it money? Is it something like freedom? Nothing against myself, but I can really see myself. Come around, come around, come around. Now I'm holding it down. I thought I was quiet, but then you brought that loud. It's instant that I mentioned. Did you know that? In a minute, I felt different. No take backs, take back. Everyone's got a little bit of magic. Everyone's got a little trick up their sleeve. Yeah, everyone's got some kind of abracadabra. So cast your spell and make them believe. Ooh, you got some kind of magic, yeah. Yeah, you got some kind of magic. Oh, you got some kind of magic, baby. Yeah, you got some kind of magic. Put that pride on a shelf. Yeah. Now you can really see yourself. Clearing out, clearing out, clearing out while you hearing me now. You ain't gotta keep quiet about what you got now. Never instant, not to mention, cause you know that. But each minute feels different, no take back. Everyone's got a little bit of magic. Everyone's got a little trick up their sleeve. Yeah, everyone's got some kind of abracadabra. So cast your spell and make them believe. You got some kind of magic. Baby, you know you got some kind of magic. You got some kind of magic. You got it, you got it, you got some kind of magic. You got it, you got it, you got some kind of magic. Make up your mind, what you're searching for. Sticky claim, is it vain? Do you see your name in lights? Make up your mind, what you're searching for. You got some kind of magic.
All right, I think it's time.
It's time.
Upper body mini bands. 8 is great. 8-minute block. Every exercise is 8 reps. We're going to start down on all fours for a 4-point glide. Mini band is over the wrists. Elbows are nice and lecked out. We're going to just glide one hand out to the side, activating those upper body muscles. Once we've completed 8, we're going to switch to the other side, keeping the core nice and tight. From here, we're going to take it to a standing position. We've got 8 uppercuts. So our palms are turned in nice and neutral. We're pulling down from the backs of the shoulders as our arms go up. Tension on the band always. Don't lift too high. Keep the pressure down through our shoulder blades. Then we're coming to a front raise. Again, shoulders engaged, thumbs up. We're lifting, keeping the tension on the band. Arms are always shoulder width apart. Don't worry about going higher than shoulder height. Keep that tension. Finally, we're going to hinge at the hips, driving our hips back and pulling our core in for a low row into a bicep curl. The elbows stay in the same plane, and we activate from the backs of the shoulder blades, tension on the band. 1 row and 1 bicep curl equals 1 rep. You've got 8 of them. We ready?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
And do you ever let your thoughts run wild? Well, I call them bluff, and I've had enough. Problem solved. Now I can rest. So flow with me. Don't you let it bring you down. ever feel alone, don't you mind? Just remember all the love you keep inside. Now flow with me. Can it be done? Hey, can it be done? I will not forget our conversation when you looked at me and I dove into your eyes, frozen with anticipation. best believe. Best believe I know it's real, I've seen it with my eyes. Best believe. Best believe I know it's real, I've seen it with my eyes. Best believe. Best believe I know it's real, I've seen it with my eyes. You're the shape I didn't know I needed in my life. You best believe I see it in your eyes. You best believe I see it in your eyes. You best believe I see it in your eyes. You best believe I see it in your
It's time for Tabata. 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. We'll do 2 exercises on repeat, 4 rounds. Exercise 1, iso squat jack. So legs are apart, body stays still as the legs hop apart and together. Option is normal squat jack with the soft sink in between reps. Exercise 2, onto the ground for a seated knee tuck. Belly button stays up nice and tall, chin is lifted, legs extend out, and crunch in. On the crunch, pull that core in tight. Option 1 leg at a time, opposite foot rests to the ground. 2 exercises, 4 rounds. Let's do some Tabata.
Lindsay, you like a good value?
Of course.
All right, we're gonna get a heck of a value out of this one. We've got a lot of combination movements on this block. 8 minutes of work, 5 exercises we're gonna go through. Your goal is to get at least 2 rounds. You're gonna want 2 objects that are about medium weight here. We have water jugs for this. Starting with 10 total reps of an alternating reverse lunge to a lateral raise. Stepping back, dropping that back knee down to the ground, squeezing the shoulder blades to bring our objects to shoulder height. Bringing them back down, driving through the front foot back to our standing position. An option, you can always reduce your range of motion on the lunge. Next up, 10 reps of a deadlift to an upright row. Lindsay's feet are about hip width apart. She's popping the hips back, keeping the chest nice and tall, bringing the shoulders back. Then from there, bringing our elbows up to shoulder height, then back down. An option here, you can reduce the depth of your deadlift. Next up, 10 total reps of an alternating lateral lunge to a bicep curl. You can see we're heavy in the heels, chest nice and tall, driving back to our standing position, squeezing the biceps, bringing it back down. An option here, reduce your depth on the alternating lunge. Next up, we have our neutral full thruster, 10 reps, shoulders nice and tall, elbows tall, heavy in the heels, exploding up into an overhead press. Option here, reduce the depth of the squat portion. Now we get to bring those down. All right, we got 20 reps of a standard crunch. Feet are hip width apart, hands behind the ears, elbows nice and wide, neutral chin. Driving the shoulders up, contracting, bringing the belly button to spine, lower back in contact with the ground. Option here, reduce your range of motion. 5 exercises, your goal is to get at least 2 rounds. Let's get to work.
They wanna wake the street. You said you'd take care of me. I said let's go carefully. I don't wanna end up in a heap. And we met with friends of ours, thankfully for just an hour. And we headed on down the beach. Sun was just about to set, and in my head a silly bet that we'd get to morning without sleep. Oh, like the 4th of July, stars are sliding my eyes like a sun. You're the
for everyone's favorite exercise, the burpee. But before you turn this off, we're going to break it down into 4 different exercises. This is going to be 10 total minutes of work. In round 1, you're going to do each exercise for 1 minute. Round 2, 45 seconds. Round 3, 30 seconds. And in that final round, 15 seconds of each. Dee, you ready to break it down? Let's break it down. Our first exercise is going to be a jump squat. Your feet are going to be about hip width apart, shoulders nice and tall, belly button to spine to keep the core engaged. Heavy in the heels, dropping into that squat, exploding up, getting a little bit of vertical, getting some air underneath those feet. Options here, you can always squat into a calf raise. Next up, we're going to drop down into a plank starting with our pop jacks. So as you can see, hands are going to be stacked underneath your shoulders, feet hip width apart, swinging those feet forward, making sure you land on the heels to keep your knees safe into that squat. An option here, you can always walk it out to your plank and walk it back in. Our third movement, we're going to go back into the high plank position for an alternating shoulder tap. As you can see, squeezing the glutes to keep the hips square, alternating, making contact with that opposite shoulder. An option here, you can drop down to your knees, but make sure to keep your core engaged. Our final movement is a double crunch. Laying down flat on your mat, making sure your lower back makes contact with the ground. You're going to extend the legs out, arms overhead, meeting in the middle. An option here, you can always raise your heels a little higher into the air. That way it'll relieve some tension on the lower back while also maintaining contact. You have 4 total rounds, descending amounts of time along the way. It's going to feel like you've done some burpees. Go ahead and get started.
meet you. Don't tell me what I can't do, I'll get it done. Woke up feeling brand new. It's nice to meet you. I bet it's nice to meet me too. Took a while for me to realize I never put myself first. Look my reflection dead in the eyes. I said it's time to see your self-worth. You don't know I could do anything. You don't know where I could go. You don't know I could do anything. You don't know I
worked hard today, so you deserve this flexibility block. You'll have 7 total stretches that you're going to hold for 20 seconds each. The first one, we have that overhead reach, moving from our side, 20-second hold per side, working the lats and obliques. Next up, we have a cross arm stretch. That's going to work the shoulders a little bit more, 20 seconds per side. Next up, standing chest stretch, bringing the arms to a 90-degree angle, drawing the elbows towards the back of the room to open up the chest. Next up, we have an internal rotator stretch, bringing the hands behind the back, chest nice and tall. Then, taking one hand, grabbing that ankle for a standing quad stretch. Fun little tip here, if you touch the nose or the ear, it's going to help with balance. But of course, if there's a chair nearby, go ahead and use it. Next, we have our kneeling forearm stretch. Fingertips facing the knees, pushing back on the hands, sitting back on the heels. You have 20 seconds there. Last but not least, we have our child's pose. So we're going to go ahead, bring the toes together, knees a little bit wider as we press back, enjoy sitting back in the stretch. Good job today.
Hook, jab, now it's round 2, now it's round 2. Empty my cup, but it's never enough. So I got my dukes, I got my dukes. Hook, jab, gonna cut my way through. Hook, jab, now it's round 2, now it's round 2. Rolling and ducking each blow one by one. 'Cause I got my dukes, I got my dukes up. 1 week past bedtime, I'm faded, searching for daylight, still pacing back and forth, back and forth. Got no one in my corner, and I gotta work it out. Feeling forces trying to dim my light. Teeth clenched, knuckles all white, all white, all white. Like got me punch drunk on the ropes, suffering blow by blow, fighting toe to toe. Placing bets, but